What is up, all of my horror fanatics out there? Welcome back to Late Night Frights. I'm the Late Night Frights horror leader, the Jay Sloan or Jordan, back here to do another video for you. And as always, guys, I want to thank everyone for tuning in this evening. Last week we did a theme, and if you haven't checked that out yet, please go do so. It was a great week overall. We did our Thriller Killer redo theme for 2015, and everyone who did their videos did great videos last week. So, as I said before, if you haven't seen it yet, please go check last week's theme out. So, seeing as last week was a theme week, this week we are doing horror battles, and the two films I chose to battle are two slashers, both from the same year, 1980. And the first one is Just Before Dawn versus Prom Night. Okay, so before I go any further, I just want to take some time and thank Mike for trading days with me this week. Obviously, today is Saturday, and Saturday is not my days. Monday is, but I was busy and I was unable to make my video, and we traded. So I want to thank you for that, Mike. Next week, we're going to go back to regular schedule, so I just wanted to let all of you know that, and tell Mike thank you for switching days this week. So, without further ado, you guys know how we do things here on Late Night Frights. First, I'll be reviewing both films very briefly, and then I will battle them to the death. And I'm going to start by reviewing Just Before Dawn. Okay, so Just Before Dawn was made in 1980. This one's directed by Jeff Lieberman, and to sum this one up in a nutshell, it is your average slasher. Now, that does not mean that it's bad. It's not great by far, but it is good, and I do find some enjoyment out of it. I'm going to go over good qualities about this film and bad qualities as we go further into the review. So the plot around this one follows five adults, five youths, I guess you could call them, even though they look older than what they're supposed to be portraying as characters. One of the characters has inherited some land up in the mountains, up in the hills, and he goes up there, and big surprise, there is cannibalistic, inbred, serial-killing maniacs up on this hill, and start to pick them off one by one. We've seen this formula done 1,000 times, make it 1,000,000 times, and it works. Yes, it does. Did it work well in this film? Yes and no. The acting in this one, for the budget, the budget for the effects were decent, honestly, for the budget. I would assume this was not a very high-budget film. And I can understand that. It did what it could, and it did what it was available to do in the money realm that it had. The acting, though, some of it just felt off. Some of it felt weird, some of it felt cheesy, and just didn't make sense to be put in this film. There was some good actors in here. There was one guy that I recognized I believe from Sleepaway Camp, and he is in the opening scene, and he's kind of thrown in and mixed together and diced up in the rest of the film. And I'm not going to spoil who it is, you'll just have to see for yourself. I could be wrong, but he reminded me of someone from Sleepaway Camp, and I have a pretty good eye for that sort of thing, and I don't know his name off the top of my head, but the cast, some actors did good, some actors took it too seriously, some actors didn't take it seriously enough. And that's always a problem in a horror film, in any film really. If the whole cast is not on board, if you try to phone in your performance, it doesn't matter what it's for. Cheesy 80s slasher, you got to take pride in your work, and you got to do the best that you can do. Some actors did, some actors didn't, and that's all I can say about the acting. Kids go up into the mountains. This guy's inherited has inherited the land, and many signs along the way that they should not go, but of course they go. Yada yada yada. They're picked off one by one, and that is the basis of the movie. Trying to find out who the killer is, but also seeing all these kids get killed off, or all these adults get killed off. So, let's talk about the direction a little bit. Jeff Lieberman, I believe, Jeff Lieberman directed this film, as I said previously. The direction was good. With the story, it was kind of a lenient story, not too in-depth, and most slashers are like that, but, there are those one slashers that are standout slashers, and to me, one being it is my favorite horror film of all time. This is obviously a example. Halloween being that standout slasher that felt more than a slasher. It didn't just feel like your average slasher. This one was way beneath that film and many slashers that I've seen previously. Although I do enjoy it. I watched this with my dad, and he enjoyed it as well. There was some really... I found myself laughing a lot during this movie. There was points in there, it was just so funny and so comical to watch. There's a scene where a character has to climb up the mountain climb up these rocks from the little river that's flowing. And when he climbs up, he just gets kicked in the face, and the kick is so subtle and so light, it's just boom, and he falls all the way down to his death. And just little things like that, but it's the way that it was filmed. And the way it looked like it was designed to bring, to bring laughs, really. And if it wasn't, then they did a poor job at what they were trying to do, because I felt that a lot of scenes were designed to bring a laugh. But other than that, you have to have comedy sometimes mixed with horror. The two, I feel, go hand in hand with each other. They kind of play, it's kind of like a flip side of a coin. Comedy and horror play off each other well in some films, and some films not so much. Just Before Dawn, it did it well. The shots, really nice shots. I enjoyed the cinematography. I'm getting tongue-tied. I enjoyed the cinematography. I liked the shots that they took. I thought they were really good. I always look for that in a film now. I didn't when I was younger, but now that I love filming, I love acting, I love things like that, directing, I always look at the different shots that people decide to take, and I really like that. And I really like the vibe. I like, out in the woods, really, out in the mountains, I guess you could say, out in the mountains, getting picked off one by one. And the killers were more funny than creepy. When you actually see, and I say killers, guys, so there is two. Spoilers, I guess, little bitty spoilers if you haven't seen it. I mean, telling you the killer count and all that, but I'm not going to go into who dies and when and where. But the killers were actually really funny, just really hilarious to look at, and some of the things that they did. But everything within it was good. Acting was good, some not so much. Directing was good. I really liked the shots they took. I liked the vibe. I liked the setting. Really liked this movie. Do I love it? No. Was it great? No. But it is a fun, cheesy slasher from the 80s. And I'm getting tongue-tied a lot, so just excuse that. But it is a cheesy slasher from the 80s, and I would definitely recommend that you check it out. So there's my review over Just Before Dawn. Okay, so now I'm going to move on and review Prom Night, which was made in 1980. This one is directed by Paul Lynch, starring Jamie Lee Curtis, and it says starring Leslie Nielsen, although he's in maybe 2 scenes of the film, so technically he's just thrown in there. It's not really starring Leslie Nielsen. He's not in very much of the film, but yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis does a great job in this one. The Scream Queen, everyone knows she's my favorite Scream Queen. A lot of people have different opinions on her. Me personally, she is my favorite. So let's talk about Prom Night. Some people hate Prom Night. I'm one of the people who love Prom Night. I think it's a love or hate situation. I think this is one of the slashers that's kind of, it's a notch above Just Before Dawn. And that's not saying that Just Before Dawn is bad. It has some very unique qualities about it, but this is one that is very different. It's not your average slasher, and it does things differently than most. It doesn't follow the generic formula. Yes, it has a few things thrown in, but it's very different in many ways. So let's talk about the story for a second, guys. So it's basically follows this group of kids, or this group of teenagers, and they're gearing up for prom. Prom night's coming very soon. But what happens is someone starts to stalk them and starts to scare them, and eventually starts to pick them off one by one. And why do they do this? Simply because these kids, these teenagers, had a very, very deeply disturbing secret and a violent past. Not necessarily a violent past, but something that happened in the past when they were children, and it's coming back to bite them in the ass, basically. I'm not going to say what it is, but I felt like it was really good. I liked the flashback between the kids and, the teenagers showing what they did. I felt like the past and the present, it all blended together well, and I love that in the movie. If they go back and forth, if it works. If it works, great. I'll love to see it. I'll definitely watch it. If it doesn't work, if it doesn't fit, if it's not necessary, it's not needed. In this one, it definitely was. So that's the story. Someone has a big revenge plot to kill all these kids for something that they did that traumatized them their entire life. And I'm not going to tell you what that is, obviously, but they have kept it a secret amongst themselves and have not told anyone about it. And that is the basic plot. Someone finds out. Someone knows. Somebody saw what they did. They don't know anyone was there, but someone saw what they did, and he or she wants blood. They're ready to kill every single one of them. So that's the basic plot around this one without going any further. I love this movie. I always have. I think the directing by Paul Lynch is good or great. Not really great. I'd say he did a good job. There wasn't any missing links. There wasn't any spots he could have put anything else in. I think he did good with the time that he was given. And the story, I think he shaped the story really well, and that is, this goes to the writers too for writing the story. It did, it was really good. It wasn't fantastic. There's no awards, winning here. Don't get me wrong. It's not like a masterpiece of a movie. It's just a really good slasher, one that I've always loved and always enjoyed. The acting's good. Everyone did a good job who acted. Well, I say everyone. Some people did a good job. I'm getting tongue-tied here, guys, so please apologize. Please excuse me. I'm getting really tongue-tied. Almost everyone did a good job acting. There was a few people out of place, but, you could tell some people took it seriously and others didn't. That's the same downfall with Just Before Dawn. The shots, really like the shots. The vibe, that's what I like about this movie. It's not out in the woods. It's not out in the hills. There's no cannibalistic inbred slashers trying to kill you. This one brings it home, much like Halloween did, much like Black Christmas did, much like Psycho did. It brings it home. It brings it to your front doorstep, and it puts it in your face, and that's what I like. So yeah, I've always loved Prom Night, and there's my review over Prom Night. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and battle these two films to the death, starting with round one. Round one is kills. Which film do I think had better kills? To me personally, guys, the kills in this was okay, but I enjoy the kills in Prom Night. There's not too many, and yes, they're not chainsaw to the head kills or, meat hook kills or just crazy, insane ways to kill a person. They're very standard, they're very average, but that's what this film, I think it works for it. That's what it needed. It didn't need something that was so bizarre and something so crazy, and I think it worked, and I really liked it, and I liked how suspenseful it was. So round one goes to Prom Night. Round two, story and originality. Which film do I think had a better story and was overall more original? Really like Just Before Dawn, guys. It had a decent story. I'm going to once again go with Prom Night. I think Prom Night had an interesting story as well. A little bit better than Just Before Dawn. I like the flashback, as I said before in my review, so I won't go back over that. But yeah, like the flashback, like the present time, like the revenge tactic. I liked how it all worked out. And yeah, round two goes to Prom Night. Round three, blood, guts, and gore, and practical effects. Which film do I think had better effects and better blood, guts, and gore? I'm assuming Prom Night had a higher budget over Just Before Dawn. I could be wrong, and I would be surprised if I was. There's not much blood in either film. There's not much blood, guts, and gore. The effects, really, too, are not insane in either movie. I really liked the headless scene in Prom Night once again, and some other things. It was a very bloodless slasher. Didn't have much, but neither did Just Before Dawn. I guess, guys, I'm gonna go with Just Before Dawn. There was a few kills in there that were really good, and I liked one of the opening kills was really cool as well. I'm gonna go with Just Before Dawn. So Just Before Dawn takes round three. Okay, round four, personal enjoyment and replayability. Which film do I personally enjoy more, and which film would I pop in right now and watch? And without a doubt, guys, this round goes to Prom Night. That is it. That's the final round. There is no need to go any further into this battle. You guys know Prom Night is going to win. I really like Just Before Dawn, but I like Prom Night just a little bit better. Like I said, it's one of those slashers that does not follow the same generic formula. It has aspects of it, so don't get mad by me saying that. It definitely does. Every slasher does. You can't really rid that. It's always going to be in it. People follow the same formula. This is one to me that I've always liked and I've always enjoyed, and I really enjoy Just Before Dawn as well. So yeah, I would love to give this one another watch. This is one I can see myself watching ever so often because I did enjoy it. I didn't love it, but I liked it. But to me, personally, guys, Prom Night wins this battle. So, once again, thank you so much for watching. That was my battle over Just Before Dawn versus Prom Night. Prom Night has won. It's came out on top. It's taken the cake. It is victorious. Please comment down below. Tell me which film you prefer. Sorry for wrapping this up a little bit quickly. My battery is about to die and my space is running low. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Like I said, comment down below. I'm really curious to hear what everyone's thoughts and opinions are on these two slasher flicks. Stay tuned, guys. For next week, we will have a new theme for you guys, a really cool theme, so stay tuned for that. And, yeah, thank you so much for watching. You just watched Late Night Frights. Comment, subscribe, and as always, guys, Keep it horror. Peace.